Broadcasting live from an Airstream somewhere in Tornado Alley, bringing you the people, places, and stories from the Panhandle to the Red River. This is your Only in Oklahoma show.
And welcome to the show. Today we're discussing a terrifying urban legend in Weatherford, Oklahoma. And later on in the show, is anything else haunted in Weatherford? I'm Brett.
And I am Harley.
Speaking of haunting, I haunted the fair twice.
I think the fair probably is haunting you.
Still.
You ate a lot of food. There were a lot of comments on social media about you not eating, that you shouldn't have eaten any of that.
You're 110%. Oh gosh, I think there's still some of it in there. It was Montezuma's revenge, or the Midway's revenge, like 2 days later.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It's a lot of grease, a lot of sugar. I'm sorry.
But a lot of love. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know how much love you can put into a corn dog. Well,
if you get the right corn dog, there's a lot of it. Let's just say I put my life on the line for you guys. So, bow. All knees shall bow to the porcelain god if you do what I did.
But so we have a few videos with you talking about the food that you tried at the fair.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite thing so that everybody can line up at that place next year?
So I got it wrong. Okay, it was a booth called Friday, F-R-Y Friday, and they had a couple of different options. They had, the homemade chips, the thinly sliced potatoes. I did a mouth fart with my mouth. The thinly sliced potatoes. They had those. They have a thing called a bro nut, which was basically brisket on a big donut, on top with some pickled onion and some other stuff on there. And then they had a Nashville hot donut with a Nashville hot sauce drizzled on top, some slaw and sweet pickles. That was the best thing I ate the entire time over.
Okay, that sounds like chicken and waffle.
Better. By far better. The sweet, the savory, the pillowy.
I'm assuming that it had chicken on it because you did not list that in the ingredients.
Nashville hot chicken donut.
Yeah, you just called it the Nashville
hot chicken donut. Now, if you want to try them, I think they're headed to Michigan or Minnesota. So, but yeah, that to me.
Do not recommend.
Things I didn't recommend, I wouldn't recommend, rattlesnake nachos. Rattlesnake is it's almost kind of fishy.
It's different.
The texture's off. It's just not good.
I don't know that I would say it's not good.
I didn't like it.
I think it's an acquired taste.
I wouldn't eat it. I wouldn't eat rattlesnake. It depends on man. And then I think about those poor rattlesnakes.
So what are you doing for dinner while we're eating rattlesnake over here?
I don't know. Maybe find me an Indian taco. But yeah, did a lot of walk around. Ran into some old friends. Made some new ones while I was out there.
Awesome.
Had a good time. I'm really looking forward to trying to maybe do the Tulsa State Fair, but man, we've got a lot of things going on.
We have a lot of irons in the fire.
Yes, we'll get more into that later on the show.
We do, but we are again ramping up
the scary, spooky, spicy stuff
for the most wonderful time of the year.
Yes, it is. But here for me, I love Halloween. I love the spooky. It's just a preamble to Christmas for me, honestly. Halloween. I love you, but get me to Christmas, please.
I really thought that Halloween was your favorite.
It is my favorite
holiday, and that it was all about the candy corn for you.
Oh God, no. I would rather be shot in the eyes with candy corn than eat it.
I still like the conspiracy theory that somebody put out a few years back how candy corn. They haven't made any new candy corn. They just keep recycling it from like the 70s.
Dude, I'm serious. Like, at least M&M's it's kind of swapped their game up a little bit.
I think they still make this stuff. I honestly think that's probably, as far as food goes, probably the most trashed food in the history of all food. I think more candy corn makes its way into landfills.
Oh, I didn't know if you trash by meaning people talk shit about it.
No, I think more candy corn nobody eats it.
It's a throwaway. But here's the thing: if you eat it, tell me why.
Because you like having your blood sugar feel like syrup.
I don't see the appeal. But for some reason, I like the little. I haven't eaten them in years, but if I had to choose between the little pumpkins, which are in the same family, and they even did a little chocolate. I want to say they were black cats. I don't know what it was, but they used to make different candy mixes that had the same kind of consistency and recipe as candy corn, but they were different shapes.
Yeah, no, I'm out.
I just can't do candy corn, dude.
It's just coagulated sugar and food coloring.
And people love it.
Nobody loves it. I swear to God, I think it gets thrown away.
It's the cheapest candy you can buy this time.
That's what it is.
100%.
But it's because it's just canola oil and high fructose corn syrup.
It's the, it's the BC powder of freaking candy. Like, you're just settling. You're really just settling. Like, I got $2. You know what I mean? But you know what, though? When you see the candy roll out, have you noticed the first thing they put out? This is the signal fire that Halloween we're getting there. As I'm walking out Walmart, this is 2 weeks ago, I see this small little, impulse display of candy corn. I'm like, all right. Because retail's the first one to tell you it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. At Lowe's, it looks like warring factions, like West Side Story, but Halloween ghoulies. The ghoulies over here and the gumdrops over here. It's so weird. Retail ruins the holidays, but the first candy they put out is candy corn.
You being sick,
yeah,
is going to throw me for this whole show.
Why?
Because
my voice is
your voice is all over the place, and I can hear it. These headphones.
Oh yeah, I can hear it too. I hate it.
It's horrible.
God, jeez,
dude,
that
was the whole thing. Your whole life goal was to get into radio,
right?
Like you've worked on your voice your
entire life, my whole life.
And now you're like, oh my god,
Dad, I'm getting hair on my chest now. What do I do?
The horrible part about it is we're talking about something scary.
Yeah.
So you coming into the studio with the deep.
Yeah,
even voice, and you're like, oh my god.
Well, I could almost be like, hey guys, Scoobs, there was the spooky stuff in the cemetery. Oh, zoinkies. But my point was to all that before I was rudely interrupted with a roast battle. I'm done. I'm a cross between Shaggy and what's his name from Alice in Wonderland. Oh, I've got it. Welcome to the tea party. That's where I'm at. We're stuck with it. But candy corn, as much as I hate it, is where spooky season really begins.
It does, and most people from Oklahoma will know this next story.
Uh-huh.
The ghost story of the Dead Woman's Crossing in Weatherford, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And there is some actual evidence to back this story up.
Well, and that's the thing. I love a good urban legend, but there's so much conjecture. There's so much... Was it a cold, dark night? Was it a warm summer morning? I've heard, you know what I mean? You hear 10 different versions of one story. Is it a tulpa? We've done the paranormal. We did a paranormal thing for a while. So our eyes are a little bit more keen to stuff like this.
This situation has a lot of paperwork.
Is that why you lit incense?
No.
I didn't know if you're trying to set the mood. Oh, I got you. Yeah.
To kill whatever viruses that you're spreading over here.
HIV.
Yeah. This urban legend has receipts, dude. So the legend starts that a woman named Katie DeWitt James haunts the road around Deer Creek in the small unincorporated community near Weatherford in Custer County. The story goes back to 1905, July 7th, 1905. DeWitt, 29, and her baby Lulu Bell, 14 months old, got on a train to go visit a cousin in Payne County.
Okay.
She had filed for divorce from her husband the day before on grounds of cruelty. Her father, Henry DeWitt, saw them off from the train station and planned on hearing from them within the next few days. When Henry hadn't heard from his daughter for several weeks, he hired a private investigator, a gentleman by the name of Bartell, to look for her And after some digging, Bartell learned that Mrs. James had met and befriended Fanny Norton.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, of course she's a prostitute. Of course her name is Fanny. Fanny was a popular name for a very long time until it became a part of your body in the 1950s.
I guess there's probably some truth to that.
Well, take a load off Fanny. Remember that?
Right.
The weight? Go ahead.
But she was a known prostitute. They met on a train. On the evening of July 7th, Norton took Mrs. James and Lulu Bell to the home of her brother-in-law, William Moore, in Clinton, Oklahoma. They spent the night there before riding off in a buggy the next morning, saying they'd be back in a few hours. Norton returned 2 hours later, but neither Mrs. James nor her daughter were with her.
Oh, the plot thickens.
And that's really where it does. What happened to them
is a mystery.
It's not really.
Okay.
The detective discovered. The detective discovered. I said discovered.
Discovered. We're even now. I need 100 more of those to match my days.
I'm
done. Done. Go ahead.
The detective found the buggy had disappeared into a field near the creek. After about an hour, it came speeding back out. One wheel was stained with blood. Norton pulled up to the farmer's house, called the farmer's boy over, and gave him a baby, Lulu Bell, wrapped in a bloody dress. So obviously there's some foul play involved.
Yeah, there's something up here.
But when the detective tracked down Norton, the prostitute denied killing Mrs. James. It was never confirmed whether she was lying or not. It was presumed she was guilty since she swallowed a heavy dose of poison, killing herself after being questioned.
There's a lot to this. It's, when you think of urban legend, they're normally pretty cut and dry. The wagon went off the thing. We never saw him again. Couldn't find the wagon into this day. Nobody knows. But if you stand at the edge of the such and such at 7:01 p.m., you can hear the sound of a train, and there's no train. Done. This one is a straight up. This is true crime.
Exactly. Like I said, they brought receipts.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of history here. But there was a skull and skeleton discovered near Deer Creek by a local fisherman, and it was confirmed that they belonged to Mrs. James. Her estranged husband, Martin James, inherited her estate and disappeared with their baby, and the mystery was never solved, but a number of questions still remain.
Like what?
So obviously there are questions about what happened, but more importantly, that's where the legend part of this, the scary part of this actually comes up.
But here's the thing. Knowing what we know, let's be honest. We were raised on unsolved mysteries, but if you're you can't swing a baseball bat without hitting a true crime podcast, a book, a story, a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. At this stage in the story, it's obvious what happened if you look at it through a true crime lens. Husband killed her, took the money, took daughter, and went, case closed. He did it.
But how did he get to where she was at? This wasn't in current era where you just check where her cell phone's at and go run her down. She didn't plan on this stop.
Yeah.
So how did the husband find her? How was the prostitute involved? And why did the prostitute kill herself?
Coming up next. Good question. Continue.
So, Dead Woman's Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
If you go there, legend says that you will hear Mrs. James roaming the area near the banks of Deer Creek, calling out for her baby daughter. Other stories claim that if you stand beneath the bridge crossing the creek and listen closely, you might hear the rattle of wagon wheels rolling above you.
Okay. I'm getting the willies a little. You got my attention. But the way so the legend, it's not cookie cutter.
No.
But when you get into the haunt part, it's it kind of reminds you of the stories of La Lorna or Crybaby Bridge. Mom is there looking for her baby, roams the earth in search of her child. It's very cookie cutter once you get into the weird and wonderful part. I mean, would you agree with that?
To a degree, but there's some minor variations off the norm. So there was a researcher in the area doing a school project. She noticed a blue light with no particular shape that originated in the creek and that came towards her and her friend. So that's different than the normal ghostly form.
Yeah, but okay. Let's do this. Let's pretend we don't know anything about what happened there, and nothing happened. Is it all in your head? Do you have to believe to receive? That's the problem with hauntings, is it's like we're so bound and determined to find something weird, but how come ghosts don't haunt a new home? You know what I mean?
How would the ghosts have gotten to the new home?
We don't know.
I'm confused.
No, how come there's no new haunting? How come, like, new homes aren't haunted?
Because nobody died in them?
Could be poltergeist. Your freaking house is built on an Indian burial ground.
Didn't they do that in a movie?
They did do that in a movie. But the thing is...
That was a new house.
All right, let me try to do this again. You're not going to cut that out. That's fine. I want everyone to know that I've got problems. I've got what they don't see right now. I have an ice pack racked around my neck that's causing me discomfort. And my voice is shot.
You're talking like Shaggy.
I'm just saying, she was probably going down there to research under the guise of... It's not like she was down there testing the water, so she already had it in her subconsciously that the place is haunted. She had to, right?
Yeah.
I think when your subconscious starts, when you already kind of have a predetermined notion of things, you're expecting, you're going to, it's like, like turning the lights off.
But if you knew the story, and you went there, wouldn't you expect that you would, if you're going to see something, that it's going to be something around the story?
Yeah, but aren't your senses heightened as well? Like, you're already got the spider sense that something weird could happen.
Sure.
So any little crack in the leaves, a shooting star, for God's sakes, you play the video and it's dust flying around, you think it's an orb. Like, it's just, and again, we have had things happen to us, and as we get farther into the season, we'll talk more about it, but we've had things that happen to us that we can't explain, that have maybe a point of origin, but weren't directly tied to that, or as far as we knew. I don't know. I have an issue sometimes with ghost stories because they all, like this one started off one way and then it goes to that woman and her baby. We've heard this story.
Yeah.
And I'm not discounting it, but I do think that it's easy to go, "Do you hear that? I saw that." You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I get what you're saying. And I'm not firmly in either camp. Like, I can take a step back and look, and I don't have any emotional investment in the story.
Yeah.
So,
and that's where I'm getting at. With no emotional investment to it, no to predetermine, like, this was supposedly happened here. Go to Gettysburg. Now, if I saw something in Gettysburg, would not be shocked. A lot of lives were lost in the field of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, for crying out loud.
Yeah. There's
videos all over the place of stuff that you can't really explain. You can try. But it's just stuff like this where we're kind of going off. Again, I think it feels like conjecture.
Well, okay, I agree. And we may have some listeners that have had some experiences. But if you're interested in going to this place, there was a wooden cross where James' body was found. It was torn down 80 years after the fact. But a concrete bridge was built nearby, which was quickly dubbed with the tragic label of Dead Woman's Crossing. But you can take I-40 to exit 84, go north a half a mile to the stop sign, quarter mile to the east, north on Blacktop for a half a mile to the bridge, and you're there.
Okay, we should do that.
Let's go right now. But honestly, I want to know from the listeners, have you driven over Dead Woman's Crossing? Have you encountered that or anything else unusual? This is the time of year we want to hear those.
It is, and again, I'm not poo-pooing anything. Dead Woman's Crossing is the equivalent to a Crybaby Bridge. I mean, that's what it is. The stories they mirror each other. With that being said, I'm open. I'm open to going there and seeing something. I'll take anything. Do you hear that? You hear that, Afterlife? I'll take anything you got. Just don't take me with you. I mean, I'm not ready yet. My voice sounds like I'm at death's door, but I'm not ready to go yet, guys.
Well, after the break, we want to know if it's old. Is it haunted?
So we spent a little time in Duncan at Thinkability. I don't know if a lot of people know anything about it. I've mentioned it to a few people, but Thinkability is a private nonprofit agency that promotes independent living skills by providing community support for people of all ages with developmental disabilities. Now, it was established in Duncan in May of '82 with just one group home. Now, there are 2 in 12-unit semi-independent apartments with other properties that serve up to 4 people with 24/7 staffing available.
We really love what Thinkability's doing in Duncan. They offer a lot of services to the community, and they're all geared to help people with developmental disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great program, but more importantly, the things that they offer are great values to the community.
Let's be realistic. In this area of service, the last 30 years has not been kind to people, adults, with developmental disabilities.
In this age of self-diagnosis, everybody's got something that they found on Google. It is honestly refreshing to find an organization that truly is supporting people with real difficult disabilities that are hard to work around.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a great job of it. I'm super pumped on what they do.
Well, even where I work, they employ through contract employees through the Del Rogers Center in Oklahoma City. It's nice to see programs like Thinkability. It's nice to see programs like the Del Rogers Center that are willing to take a chance, because the reality of it is they deserve to earn.
100%.
And if you want to get involved, you want to figure out where to put your money where your mouth is, slip over to thinkabilityfirst.com.
If the older in age things around a town are, then Weatherford's Main Street has got to be pretty haunted.
Yeah, I mean, we've spent collectively a lot of time in small towns, and you can kind of look at them and go, okay, I don't know if it's a legend, but it sure feels like it could be.
So Main Street in Weatherford was part of Route 66 until 1971.
Whoa.
There are a bunch of classic US 66 landmarks and attractions in the area. First and foremost, there's like 5 classic filling stations.
I love those so much.
Still have a piece of their history to show.
Yeah.
Some of them have been converted and things, but they still have hung on to pieces of it. So, like, there's a Sinclair station, there's a Lyle's Conoco station, Wright's Mobile, Max Skelly service station, and Mike Smith Texaco.
Yeah.
Dude, all of the buildings look cool. I wish they would have hung on to a little bit more of the history.
Yeah.
But I understand.
There was a, never got to experience the full-fledged filling station. And for those just now playing along at home, filling station, you pull up, ding, ding, ding. Attendant comes out, washes your windows, whether you want him to or not. You pop the hood, they top off your fluids, they put your gas in. What happened to that?
I was talking to somebody about that the other day. The fact that oftentimes those guys were dressed in all white.
Yes.
How? In
Did they
Oklahoma?
stay white?
Right.
Your guess is as good as mine, especially the farther you get out west, where there's it's just wind sweeping down the plains. Really,
dude, I cannot own a pair of white tennis shoes in this state because
look at just real quick. Look at my white tennis shoes. I mean, not bad, but you can tell they're not clean.
There's some red dirt rust on there,
and no amount of the best cleaner, extra OxyClean Deluxe. You practically have to power wash them or paint them.
Yeah.
You remember when you could do, I don't know if you had a grandma or grandpa or an uncle or somebody that would take shoe polish and just paint over the shoe polish to paint over stuff. But yeah, there was a gas station on South Agnew that up until probably the mid to late 90s didn't look like an old school filling station, but it was known for pull up, ding, ding, ding. A guy would come out not dressed. It wasn't like, it's like the old days, but he would come out, look like a mechanic guy.
Yeah.
Come out, wash your windows, look at your fluids, top them off, would still do it. I don't know if there's any
Any place in Oklahoma that does that?
Or if they've all been converted to gift shops or burger joints. But at the end of the day, what I do like is, and I think you're almost beholden, if you own a business on Route 66 that's within a reasonable age, there are too many grants out there. We were just talking the other day about somebody got a grant for almost $1 million to redo a gas station in Veneta, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many grants that can be written out there to not at least, if we can't preserve, Oklahoma has the longest continuous drivable stretch of Route 66 in the country. If we can't at least preserve what it looked like, I don't need to get gas. I mean, it'd be nice. It'd be cool to get the old school treatment. I do like that. I think you're just almost obligated to make it look like it used to, or keep
as much of the history as
absolutely.
You can. Speaking of history, they do have the Stafford Air and Space Museum, which we've done an episode about.
Yes, we have.
I'll drop a link in the show notes for that. But they've also got the Heartland Museum.
Mm-hmm.
They have attractions from the late 1800s through the 1950s. There's even an old diner where Elvis stopped to eat 3 times on his way to Las Vegas.
I thought you said wait Las Vegas. But you said way to Las Vegas. I love Elvis.
I know you do.
I love the king. But he could put back some food, man. He could really put it down. I wonder what he eats. 3 times on the way back to Vegas?
Yeah.
He must have stuck around Weatherford for a little while.
Either that or it was multiple occasions.
Let me get 3 of everything.
I don't know how much visiting you've done to Weatherford, but they do have Blair's Log Cabin.
Yeah.
Built in 1892. It's moved. They moved it from where it was.
Because of water, probably.
I don't know why.
Uh-huh.
But they moved it onto the spot where another old cabin was.
Okay.
But there's no way that if age equals haunting...
Oh, no, I was exactly where I was going with that.
There's no way this cabin's not haunted.
Let's move it to a place where there used to be a cabin, where there probably used to be a family in there that died from consumption.
End of the day, though, if you're interested in history, or if you think old stuff equals hauntings and you're interested in hauntings, you got to check out Weatherford.
Listen, I think Route 66 is the most haunted stretch of road. Let's be honest. It's one of the most highly traveled in the history of the automobile. Things happen out there. Dead Man's Curve, I think, is on Route 66 in Barstow, California, or something. I mean, there's history in them there highways,
absolutely,
and byways. But yeah, Weatherford. I've been out to Weatherford, and it kind of just you're driving, then boom, you're there. It's just kind of creepy on its own merit.
You think Weatherford's creepy?
Yeah, I do. I think any small town. But then again, I was driving into town at night.
Everything's creepy at night.
Everything is creepy. But I'll tell you what's not creepy. Feedback.
Well,
it can be. Wait. It can be, because I've had people say to me, "Can you smack more when you eat?"
So we do have some feedback on a recent video.
Sure.
Hamburger King, Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Shauna Seal commented on Facebook. She said, "Oh, the memories. It makes me cry and smile at the same time. My dad grew up eating at Hamburger King. I grew up eating here. So many family meals have been had here. All the laughter and good conversations this place holds from over the decades. I miss them. And yes, the best burger in the world, according to Shauna Seal, is at Hamburger King in Shawnee, Oklahoma."
On that note, we got into this thing that we're doing now because of places like this.
Yeah.
And the honest thing is, we could cover some $1 million take-home tickets or take-out tickets that people go to. But at the end of the day, the reality is the best responses we get, I remember when.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
We remember when. Take me back to that place again.
When you talk about Tacoville,
Mm-hmm.
or you talk about Dairy Mart,
Yeah.
or Hamburger King, it literally sparks, like, in the depths of people's souls.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's ingrained in them. And, I mean, people love hearing about these places for the nostalgia as much as the hot dogs or whatever they're serving.
Because a lot of what we get the locals that chime in, but people that have moved away and go, God, I miss that place. Gosh, I need to get back there. Gosh, I can't wait till November when I come back home. Your girls like Brahms when they come back.
It's weird when the girls come to town, they have a list of places and it rotates. So oftentimes it's Brahms, or they'll want to go to Mears, a weird one, El Chico
In Norman?
in Norman,
Dude,
at the Sooner Fashion Mall.
listen, I have to confess, I've never eaten at El Chico. Now, with that being said, within the last month, I ate there for the first time. El Chico has been there in that. It's one of the few original things in the mall.
I worked there when I went to college at OU.
I worked with somebody that's twice your senior, almost. Not really. No.
They'd be really old.
Well, yeah. That's in their 60s that worked there in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Never been there. Never been to El Chico. I never went to Chi-Chi's.
Mm-hmm.
Never went to Chi-Chi's. You had to have money. You had to have money to do that. But yeah, never been to El Chico. Went there for the first time within the last month. Wild.
And do I get a verdict?
It was pretty damn good.
Were you giving it like 4 out of 5 quesos?
I would say it's a 3 out of 5 because it's not my favorite. I like that for mall Mexican. Number one, it's good. It's pretty good for that. Number two, it's history, man. El Chico's been around. There was never there was a wait to get in on a Sunday, on a Saturday. People still, because I'll tell you why people go to El Chico, and you can go, well, it's just at the mall, because you worked there when you were in college. So and so worked there in the 70s and 80s.
Yep,
it's
got history.
It's got history, man.
It does.
And that's where we punch in at, is we cover the history. I told somebody the other day, from the campsite to the kitchen. That's what we do. And this is why we do it, because I don't want somebody crying, but if we can strike get a little bit of the Wonder Years vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Give it to me. By all means. Love the feedback. Thank you.
Absolutely. And more importantly, if you're out, you're trying these places, you go to El Chico or you go to Mears, and you heard about it on the Only in OK show, tell them you heard it here.
Absolutely. And the best way to let us know that you've done any of those things, or for suggestions, we get suggestions. I mean, Harley, really? How many?
20 a day.
There's a list of country mile long.
Yeah.
We're literally going to have to put a wheel up here and go, and just name it burgers. And then we'll have to next week put one that says Italian food. I mean, it's nuts. But if you reach out to us via email, let us know what we missed, what we hit, where to go next. It's the Only in OK show, literally right now. There, if you click somewhere, you're going to see us. Your mom saw us. She's your grandma's seeing us. We're everywhere. You are. We're everywhere you want to be. It's the Only in OK show. New episodes all the time. I'm Brett.
And I'm Harley, and we're out of here.
Peace.
Back when I was in radio, we called them canned. Here are our top 10 places to get a hot dog in Oklahoma. Number 10, Renaissance Wiener.
I hate you, man.
Why?
Because I need you to be interacting with me. I'm over here trying to get, Daddy, I'm trying to get your attention, Daddy, with my new accent. Daddy, look. I'm English. Look at me, Daddy. Daddy, I tell you, I can do your English accent, Daddy. Daddy, you want to go play catch with me and I'll talk in my English accent, Daddy? When you wake up, Daddy, can we go play catch, Daddy?
Is that not right?
Can I help you cut the chicken's head off, Daddy?
Can't believe you murdered the chicken. You murdered it.
Oh, Tasty Burger video is doing pretty good. That was fried bologna burger I did.
I don't know how you do it in America, but we begin every show with a welcome.
How you say in America? Let's get the show on the road.
My English American accent is not very good, but I will tell you. Can we get the show on the road, buddy? Sorry, I tried my best.
Why we don't get paid for it? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.